Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so you guys are going to get like a 2-day lesson in 1 day, but it's perfectly fine. We're going to go fast. It's not very hard. The math is not very hard at all. Mostly the vocabulary might be a little tricky. It's not hard at all. All right. 27:22. Okay. Did we write down anything yesterday? No. Okay, just the yellow paper. Okay. Distance, speed.
And our math thingies.
Yeah. It goes to show you how much I value those results, that I took time away from teaching you something to just like show you where you guys are landing, pass out your results, because
Distance is spelled with the N?
Distance, yeah.
What did you think it was?
All right, we're going to focus on this because we got a lot of stuff to do. Okay, distance, speed, and time. So, the first letter, or first vocabulary word, distance. Okay, what units do I use for distance? Miles. Look how we're writing, and okay, we're writing and providing me with options. Kilometers. Oh, look at us writing, not getting distracted. Inches, light year. I'm not.
Meters? Light minutes.
Yes. Oh, God, I love it. Okay. Distance is miles, centimeters, and so on. Right? There's light years.
Light years.
Yeah. It's a.
Light years means how much time it takes for light to travel in a year.
Is that a Y and a D?
Yeah, yards. YD is abbreviation for yards. Kilometers, inches, meters, millimeters. Right, there's endless, right? These are usually the ones that we hear the most, that we use. Okay, here's the tricky part. You're going to be reading a bunch of word problems, and then you're going to be like, oh, what are they asking me to do? One of the easiest ones to figure out that you're solving for distance is when the question starts with how far ... How far did you travel? How far away is everything? How far away do you live? How far away is the door from Miss O'Malley's current position? How far? Okay? Now, to solve for distance, we use our triangle. Shayla, we use our triangle here to solve for distance. So, whatever you're solving for, distance, speed, or time, you cover it up. So I'm going to fold over. So I'm going to cover up the letter D because that's what I'm solving for. What's left over? S dot T. And what does this dot mean in math? Multiply. So to solve, so I cover up the D. This is the formula to solve for distance. So distance is equal to speed times time. Okay, so if I were to solve for distance, I need to do speed times time. Okay?
You write that down?
Everything. All right, so that's distance. We're good? Okay. Now speed. What units do we use for speed?
DT. DN.
No, units.
Miles per hour.
Miles per hour. MPH, which is miles per hour. Next time you're in a car or you're walking home and you see the sign that says how fast you can go, like if it's residential, I think it's like 25, 35. You're on the freeway at 65. Next to that big, ginormous number, it says MPH. So it's measured in miles per hour. Speed in the United States is measured by miles per hour. If we were in a different country, it would be kilometers per hour. So if you've ever been, for example, to Mexico and you see the sign and their kilometers are different, so it would be like 100 kilometers per hour. You're like 100, but it's not miles per hour. It's different. Now, if I were to measure a snail, if I were to go outside and measure a snail, the distance it traveled, what's the speed? Will I be measuring him or her or it using miles per hour for a snail?
No.
I agree, Angel. We would 100%. stare at it for an hour, and then measure using a mile. What would our answer be? 0.0000001 mile per hour. Edwin?
I saw a snail outside my house, so then I left
Did
it
you
there,
eat
and I
it?
came back 9 hours later, and it barely moved an inch.
Right? And then you pour salt all over it. Oh no, that's just me.
I did. Wait, what?
Sorry. Sorry.
Just make a racetrack made of salt.
Yeah.
Why are you guys such lovers?
You know, it was eating my vegetables, so.
Here I thought I was.
It was my tomato or the snail. Sorry, my tomato won. Anyways, let's get back to this. So,
Probably the type of person to see one and run it over.
what do you think I would use to measure a snail? How fast a snail's going? What do you
5
think?
meters per second. Stop this.
What units? Centimeters per minute? Does that make sense? Like, I'm going to watch it for a minute, and then I'm going to use a ruler to measure how many centimeters it would go. Does that make more sense for a snail? Yeah, right? Because if you know, like, or millimeters, right? Centimeters, like, did it crawl 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, 3 centimeters in 1 minute? That could,
What if it goes on the ruler?
yeah, no, but do you understand, like, why that unit for speed for a snail would be good? If I were to calculate your speed from going to second period, as some of you run out like there's a fire, I wouldn't use miles per hour, right? I would be maybe like feet per minute, maybe, right? Feet, right? How many of these do you go every minute? Like you guys walking out the door, right?
Or yards.
Right, or yards. But so depending on what we're measuring is the unit. 99% of the questions you're going to deal with in this class will be miles per hour or kilometers. Usually we just talk about like cars and or running or cheetahs, you know, running. All right. Now, you will read the question as how fast ... How fast is the train moving? How fast did you walk to school today? How fast did the snail crawl in a minute? So, when you read how fast, they're talking about speed. Got it? Okay, okay, so the formula for speed. What letter do I cover up? S. So I fold it over. How do I solve for speed?
Divided by time. D times T.
What does this line mean? Divide. So for those of you who said D divided by T, you're perfectly correct. Very good. You understand the math symbols. So speed is equal to distance divided by time. And since you're 7th graders, we don't write the division line like old school. We write it with a bar. Bar notation. Not bar notation. With the line. All right. We're okay? All right. The last one is time. What units do we use for time?
Hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, nanoseconds, days, decades, years, centuries, eternities.
Yep.
Light years. Taking.
Minutes,
Like you're kind of actually
years, seconds, hours,
Milliseconds.
day, month, so on and so forth. You can add to your list if you want. These are like mostly the ones that we're going to be using. Minutes, years, seconds, hours. A lot of hours, day, right? How long does it take me to drive to Vegas? How long does it take me to drive to Mexico?
4 hours.
Right. How long does it take me to drive to Texas? Right.
17 miles.
Yes. So the way you read this, and this is the one that kids confuse. How long? ... How long did it take you to drive to Texas? How long did it take you to drive to Oregon? Students will read how long, and then they think, oh, it's 25 inches because it says how long. And it's like, no. In here, how long is time. So be careful. That's the one that kids mess up a lot. The how long. How long is
did
this?
it take?
Yes. All right. Okay, so what do I cover up? The T. So how do I solve for time?
Divided by time.
Yep, distance over speed, distance divided by time. So time is equal to distance over speed. So you have 3 formulas to memorize. 1 for time, 1 for distance, and 1 for speed. Kind of like you should memorize how to find the area of a trapezoid, but it's hard, so we write it down. We use this little triangle to help us remember the formulas. So instead of having to memorize each individual formula, like this one, number 2, and then number 3, you just have to memorize this little triangle, right? And then like, okay, what am I solving for? Cover it up. What am I solving for? Cover it up. Okay? This will help you figure out how to solve it. All right, let's do a problem together.
Wait, so you cover up what you solve it for?
Correct. Instead of memorizing the 3 formulas, you just, do that. Okay, Miss Lamelli. Hey, that's me. Miss Lamelli traveled 5 hours in her super cool car. Remember the car that I borrowed money to pay for last week?
What about the comically large spoon?
Travel pool. She borrowed $500 to buy a Nissan.
Her average speed was 65 miles per hour, comma. How far, we're writing this down, Jesus, quickly. How far did she, travel? We're writing this down. Everyone's writing this down. You're going to get some examples, so when you're doing this for homework tonight, you can go back to this example and be like, oh yeah, this is how she did it. Good thing I wrote it down, and I'm going to write down what she's going to write down next, and what she circles and highlights, I'm going to do the same.
Tomorrow we're gonna have a time to study for the test.
Maybe. I'm trying to,
The test. I can finally get my grade up.
Is tomorrow Friday?
Yeah.
okay. Miss Lamelli travels 5 hours in her super cool car. If her average speed was 65 miles per hour, how far did she travel? What are we solving for? Distance, right? And the reason it's distance is because this word says how far. So this right here tells you is distance. The how far, I know it's kind of weird how that A, how far, that tells you distance. If you're still confused of what am I solving for? Go back and figure out, 5 hours, what does that represent? Time. 5 hours is time. So are you solving for time? No, because they gave it to you. 65 miles per hour, what is that? Speed. So are you solving for speed? No. So if you don't understand what they're asking you, go back and go, that's my speed, that's my time. So obviously they're not asking for that, right? All right. So they're asking us for distance. So distance is equal to, I'm going to, cover this up, but if you know, you know. Cover that up. What's left over? Speed times time. So distance is equal to speed times time. So plug in my numbers. What's my speed? 65 times, what's my time? 5. Okay, so multiply that out. You don't need a calculator. You can go to the side and just multiply 65 times 5. Practice good basic multiplication skills. What is it? 325 what? Yes. 325. Okay, so you go back and be like, okay, what are my options? My options are miles, centimeters, feet, yards, like this, right? Not miles per hour, that's speed. So distance, it's one of these. So how do I know it's miles? This is how you know. Right here. You use what they use. If this said kilometers per hour, we would use kilometers. If this said centimeters per hour, centimeters. But it says miles per hour, mph, okay? So then it's miles. We okay? We okay? Okay. Let's see. No. Brianna. You're in Run Strong, right? Okay. BRIANN double N. Brianna ran a total, because she's in Run Strong, of 15 miles over the weekend. Because for fun. Just for fun. I don't get it, but whatever. It's cool. Brianna ran a total of 15 miles over the weekend. Not all at once, but like a little on Saturday, a little on Sunday morning, then some more on Sunday night. Cool. If her average speed was 3 miles per hour, how long did it take her? Question mark. All right. What are we solving for? And how do you know? What is it? I heard it over here. Time. How do you know? So it's time. If you don't know, well, what does a 15 represent? 15 represents
How far?
distance. 3 miles per hour represents speed. So what's left over? I got the D, I got the S. I'm looking for the T. So if the how long doesn't make sense to you, then go like, okay, what does 15 stand for? What does a 3 stand for? Oh, cool. So what am I left for? With T. And then I grab my triangle, cover up the T. Distance divided by speed. All right. So what's my distance? 15 miles. What's my speed? 3 miles per hour. What's 15 divided by 3? 5. 5 what? Hours. Why? Because it's right here. So this miles and this miles get eliminated. They cross out. They eliminate each other. You're left with hours. Whoops. If I can spell it correctly. So it took her 5 hours to travel 15 miles. Because she was just at a 3 miles per hour. She was just, not even breaking a sweat. Just, little slight little jog. Are we okay with these two questions for distance and time? Yeah? Okay. So which one's left? Then I gotta show you speed. Let's see. Eddie traveled a total of, hold on. Let me do this. 2 miles. 632 miles in 8 hours. Yeah. How fast was he going? Was he going above or below the speed limit? Yeah. Eddie traveled a total of 632 miles in 8 hours. How fast was he going? So we're solving for speed. This is how fast. That's speed. So speed is equal to, we cover up the S in our triangle. Boop. D divided by time. D divided by time. So distance is... So our distance. Our time is 8 hours. So 632 divided by 8. 632 miles divided by hours. 8 goes into 6, 0. 8 goes into 63, 7. 56,472. How many times does 8 go into 72? 9. So our speed is equal to 79 what? Miles per hour. Miles per hour. This bar is your per. Miles per hour. Miles per hour. Was he going above the speed limit?
Yes.
Terrible. But what if he's on a jet ski? I don't know how fast jet skis go, actually. So I don't know.
Not like
2 miles an hour.
They go
What if he's on a jet?
They go like as fast as we go cartwheel.
Okay, but would a private jet go 79 miles per hour? No. Airplanes go hundreds. Helicopters? All right. Any questions? So we're gonna practice. Let me turn.